So, I don't know. Trying to change my attitude about going to work and everything. Believe it or not, I'm actually very grateful that I have this job. I always wanted to work in IT. That's the field I work in. I do quote unquote end user support. I'm gonna try to stay positive this whole video. But it's almost like, I don't know. It's like IT adjacent. My official term is like end user support coordinator level 2. I don't know what I've done to be at level 2, but hey, all right, I'll take it. Long story short, I got my A+ certification, CompTIA, and it's one of the beginner certifications, quite honestly. I'm not gonna say it's a scam or anything. I think it's good if you need proof that you know what you know. But having one of the higher certs, I mean the higher beginner certs at that, still proves that you knew what you needed to know to pass. Anyway, I'm studying for Network Plus right now, and that's a whole different story. I think I'll save that for a different video about studying. But yeah, I don't know. It just, I got it, and I basically spam applied to as many jobs as I could. I think I was on ZipRecruiter and LinkedIn. Man, I can't stand those. I can't stand either of those websites, especially LinkedIn. I do not want the job search to be social media, man. I can't stand that. It feels very fake. Like, sure, I can ask questions about my career sometimes, and I kind of appreciate that aspect, but like, I have to document all this stuff, and I have to interact with people, and I have to basically like glaze strangers in hopes that like they see my name enough and they're like, oh, I'm considering an IT position. What does this guy have to say? You know, it's like, I don't know. It just feels like kind of what's wrong with the world we live in. I have to sell myself as a product because that's what I am. Anyway, to keep it short, I got this job. Very thankful I did. I'm probably making the most I've ever made. Outside of warehouse work. Like, I think the only times I've made more than this was like through overtime at different jobs. And overtime is nice, and I do appreciate it a bit more, especially because I don't get it at this job. So I'm not incentivized to work more than what's required. But, you know, I also appreciate, you know, the presence of overtime existing. Almost, it's not only an incentive for you to work hard, more, not harder, but like, I guess harder and more are synonyms in this example, but it's like they, you know, oh, this is dog shit. I got decaf coffee today. I heard you're not supposed to mix Adderall and caffeine together. So I tried decaf coffee, and be real, it tastes kind of bad, but I made the coffee, so whose fault is that? Anyway, yeah. Overtime kind of, it incentivizes you to work longer hours for that increased pay rate. I kind of think of it like as a bonus mode in a game. But it's also like they start asking you, hey, don't you want overtime? Hello? Don't you want to put in more hours? Hello? And to be fair, they are rewarding you for the hours worked. But it's like, it's a lot. I think overtime in the example of an hourly employee is probably far better than forced overtime as a salaried employee, just because you don't get any compensation for it. Nonetheless, back to real life, my job. It just seems like, you get there, everything's kind of cool, and to be fair, I like my job. Sometimes it's really fun, and other times it's like, it sucks. Job sucks, man. And it only sucks because I work IT for a company I will not name that is fairly old. They don't really have a lot of established IT practices. Knowledge base articles, like very little on the means of training or anything like that. I kind of just got dumped in there. And I'm very thankful to my coworker who also was dumped in, but he was dumped in like a year before me, and he taught me a lot. Taught me everything I know, pretty much. And of course, I've had to ask a lot of questions and figure out things, and people have helped me along the way, and now I can do the job. I can do the job pretty confidently by myself now. Like, I don't need my coworker, but I guess like volume of work done is definitely less. It's like double-edged sword, volume of work done is less because our job is basically half the job is coordinating users to get them to ship their company laptops or PCs in general and all the peripherals that come with them, and you set up the shipping to ship to the IT lab, and then you from there you based on what the ticket was, you either were doing a reimage or a swap, or maybe you already sent them a device for the swap and you're just going to wipe this PC and add it to inventory. Maybe it's a disposal, whatever. It's kind of it can only be so many options, and I kind of just have a system for each one at this point. So I feel like I can confidently handle the job. However, if you have two people working like that, then it's better because you're able to really get a lot done. However, and this may make me sound like a bad person, you kind of get used to having another person around. You might even slack off a tiny amount just because that, hey, this guy got my back, and if he's not here, you just gotta get it together. And I don't know, I've worked a lot of jobs in my life. For the age I'm at, I've worked a variety of careers. careers, or not careers, but jobs. Let's just say jobs, or positions even. I've learned a thing or two about how to work a job, and that it's less about working hard and more about consistently being there and giving about, 70% effort consistently. Don't burn out. Don't work too hard. The old adage was that if you work hard and you always accept extra work and you're everywhere at once and you're indispensable to the team, you'll climb up the ranks of the corporate ladder and you'll be the boss one day. But that's just not true. It's just not true. Part of me I don't really want to be the boss of any company. I just want to have some sort of work-life balance. I want to be paid enough. This guy is right behind me. I'm not going any faster. I want to be paid enough, and I also want to, just have things to look forward to in my life other than work. I think that's not so much to ask. I think I'm gonna work on saying I think so much, because I say it a lot. But yeah. Long story short, to keep a short story long, this story really isn't supposed to be that long. I think that just work is a marathon, and in the modern world that we live in now, it's more advantageous to move from job to job. Maybe give each job maybe a year and a month, or a little more, But in my experience, a year and a month is about fine, If you're attending school full time, go do that. Maybe work a part-time job as well. But I'm kind of out of that position in my life where I could do that, so now I have to work full time and attend school part time. Such is life, such is the result of making mistakes and being not taking things seriously is what I would call that. Yeah. So it's kind of why I started making these, is because I'm in the car. Oh, let alone I didn't even start on that. I didn't even start on this part about how I commute. This is my first job where I've had to commute an hour back and forth. Whew. I know people have been doing this stuff. They've been doing things like this for a long time, but it never dawns on you until it's you who's actually doing it. This is not cool, man. This shit is not cool. They got me. Again, I'm the one who said it. I accepted the job, but it was the only job that had an offer for me, and the offer was contingent on me commuting every day. So I did accept this. I did ask to be given this. However, it's still pretty crazy. It's crazy. It's a legit 2 hours of my day gone. Like, if I want to study, I'm just imagining that in the future. I'm gonna have to study. Yeah. If I want to study or whatever, take my time for myself to do what I need to do, it's gonna have to happen in that I get home around 7:30. It's gonna have to happen in that 2.5 hours before I go to bed, which 2.5 hours is a lot of time, but you gotta think, like, not many people just sit down and start studying, right? If you're locked in, you're about that bread, about your future, then yeah, I can see it happening. But not many people, people need time to decompress from a day of work. And I guess you could say you did that in traffic, but you're still in traffic, man. Honestly, it's kind of why I tried to negotiate with my job about, hey, we would, back when there was more of us, because my coworker, he quit pretty recently. So back when it was both of us, I tried to negotiate, both of us, and we tried to say, hey, can you either make this job hybrid on some days or pay us for our transportation, because I spend however much on gas every week. Anything would help is what I'm getting at. Crickets. Answer is no. Crickets, or I gotta check with my, someone above me, I gotta check. Which means, no. You could keep pestering them and maybe it'll change the answer, which I haven't tried, but I kinda don't want to do that. I really didn't want to play my hand until I hit a certain time spent at the company, which was 6 months. And I only had to play my hand because I was like, oh, well, I want to show solidarity with my coworker here, because he's also, he's been suffering from these things a lot longer than I have, but it didn't work out. Contractors have such a small amount of power in the workplace. I feel it's weird how I won't talk about this too much more, but it's weird how I almost feel undervalued. I'm basically doing a job that you could train. I was gonna say you could train a monkey to do, but no, you could train some sort of AI assistant to do this kind of thing. And I'm sure you could get the AI assistant, I'm calling it an AI assistant. I'm probably using wrong terminology, but you could probably train an AI assistant to, walk someone, respond to messages on Teams, and set up a ticket, and then put the ticket into ServiceNow, and then pops up in the queue. That would be good. You'd still need someone to actually do the work, which would leave me a job, because for some reason we went in the direction of advancing AIs to I guess maybe it's easier for them to code and make art art in quotation marks, and maybe it's easier for them to make digital things than it is for them to have physical presences in the world. But I don't think that's true, because we have like automated machines and factories that do jobs that people used to do and can work 24/7. So I don't think we can do that yet. We can't have an AI do this job I do right now, or automate the job. But I'm sure like we could at least automate the part where like people have to reach out and make this ticket and whatnot. Like, anyway, you might be saying, "Oh, why don't you do that, man? You should be able to do that. Why don't you automate it, bro? Like, I really appreciate your work." I'm sure they would. I'm absolutely sure they would. Before they say, "What do we need you for?" and fire me. Probably not. I'm being needlessly pessimistic. But yeah, that's kind of it. I feel undervalued at my job. I wish I made more money. I wish I didn't have to commute. But I am grateful that I have a job at all during this economy. A lot of my friends don't have jobs. My friend in cybersecurity got laid off. Some of my friends just don't have jobs. I don't know why they don't have jobs. They're busy doing side quests or something. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I don't know. Bye.